Sif's blood. Barely survived that encounter. I'll bring you a new transmission. Vode An.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Vode An. We're on episode 10 of the series. We're on episode 5 of Before the Dark Times, which is, of course, our catch-up series for me and Ken because we were about to get into Clone Wars Republic, and we're like, oh, we haven't read any of the shit that came before it, so that's what we're doing here. So today we're on Twilight, which is it's issues, let me see here, 19 through 22 of Republic. Came out in the year 2000. Of course, it's written by the legendary John Ostrander and illustrated by the legendary Janitor Sema, legendary duo. This is like a key issue, or a key, not issue, but it's a key story arc in the whole series. It's the introduction of Quillen Voss. So who we all know is a pretty major character in the EU, and he's
Indeed he is.
somewhat major in Disney canon, but so I guess a brief rundown. Now, this video is super delayed because life has happened, and I guess before we actually review it, I do want to talk about the future of the series real quick. I'll explain really quickly. I'm going to university. I'm going to be living there on campus, so we still want to do videos. I'm packing, stuff for it. But I mean, it's mostly comics, so we should be able to knock it out fairly quickly. The next few episodes, it's just we got to make sure our schedules line up. So basically, the series will slow down a lot more than what it was, but we're still going to try to put stuff out. And Tidus is in school, Ken is working, so I mean, I'm going to be working too. I got to find another job, but so that's just a little update. So this video's delayed, but here we are. So brief rundown of the story. It's basically about Quillen, and it opens up with he has no idea who the hell he is. He don't know where he's at. He don't know why he's there. He's on Nar Shaddaa. Right? Nar Shaddaa, right? I think.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
So Nar Shaddaa on the Smuggler's Moon.
Nar Shaddaa.
Smuggler's Moon.
Nar Shaddaa.
The moon that seems to be in every Star Wars game.
Fiend. Overused than Tatooine.
I don't know. I don't know.
Quite
about
literally.
That. I don't know about more Tatooine.
But it
That
seems
was
like,
sorry.
it seems like it's in every Star Wars game or story.
Kind of does.
You want like Mos Eisley on steroids? There you go, Nar Shaddaa.
The only game it's missing from is like Battlefront. That's about it. I don't think.
Well, what are they gonna do? Have a war on Nar Shaddaa? I mean,
have
a
war and a drug den and a gambling.
I
den.
mean, there's mods where you can play on Nar Shaddaa, but it's not in the base game.
Men, the clones are holed up in the brothel. Charge in.
The clones gotta de-horny all the clones. Stop them. Gotta stop the clones from having sex.
Now, technically, this is not his first appearance. Quillen Voss. His first appearance was in Emissaries of Malastare, right?
Well,
it was a
actually,
cameo.
his first appearance. Wait, no, I was gonna say his first appearance was actually in Phantom Menace, but that's actually incorrect.
Retcon don't
All
count,
right.
dude. The retcon don't count.
Yeah, that don't count, dude.
Oh,
That's maybe his
retcons.
chronological first appearance. Well, actually,
True.
That's not necessarily true. But, anyway, so he cameoed in that story, and then this is his full story. He's on Nar Shaddaa. He don't know where he's at, what he's been, who he is. He don't even know his name. He has a case of Revan syndrome.
Oof.
He comes across a Deveronian named Villy, who every EU fan knows who that is. And Villy basically is trying to, because he's, Quillen's getting hunted, and he's trying to help Quillen get away, but we don't really know if Villy is on his side or not. They end up leaving Nar Shaddaa. They go to Kifar. Is that the planet name? That's the planet name, right?
It's Kifu.
Kifu. Quillen Voss is a Kifar. They go to Kifu, his homeworld, and he meets with his aunts. And by this point, he has recovered his lightsabers, and we learn that he has a power called psychometry, which touches an object, so you can learn where the object's been, which is a power I mean, his power, his psychometry is a lot more amplified because he's force sensitive, but his species, or at least the guardians, there's this group of Kifar called guardians, and they have, psychometry abilities.
In the
His is a lot more
EU,
amplified because it's force sensitive. You're saying what, Ken?
I wanted to clarify. If someone can clarify this, I don't know if this is. I don't think I know about this, but in the EU, is it only Kifu that can have psychometry, or is it other races? Because I know in canon, like Cal Kestis has it, and he's a human.
Well, in Disney canon, everybody has it. Ahsoka has it. Cal Kestis has it. I'm sure everybody has it. Disney canon, so.
Psychometry, I don't think it's just Kifu that naturally have it. I mean, it's just a psychic ability, what's the name? So AC-10's race, the Ikitachi. Now they have psychic abilities, and
I see.
one among them can be from telekinesis, telepathy, or psychometry.
Gotcha. I was just under the impression that only the Kifu had it.
No, any race with like I'd imagine like any race with like some psychic ability could like learn to tap into it.
Yeah, makes sense.
I think Quinlan's the most famous user of it, though, but he's
Yeah,
probably the most
for
powerful
sure.
user of it. But anyway, so he's trying to learn who he is, right? So he goes to Kifu. He speaks with the I forget her title, but like the leader or whatever. And she basically tells him, she kind of runs down what had happened, that Quinlan and his apprentice Ayla Secura were trying to stop the sale of it's like a hybrid drug called Glitteril. Isn't that what it's called? The Glitteril?
Glitteril and glitter stem.
Glitterol. It's like Adderall. Glitterol.
It's Glitterol, but through like the glitter stem.
It's just Adderall, but
Yeah.
it's Star Wars.
So it's a combination of two drugs. Glitter stem, which if you've read Jedi Academy trilogy, is where it first showed up. It's from this it's from the spice mines of Kessel, and then Rill, which is like from the spice mines of Ryloth. And it literally causes like amnesia. So he's told to go to Ryloth, which is where they had or that's where his aunt thought that she was going, or they were going. Sorry, I'm running on 3 hours of sleep and we're trying to talk. But anyway, they go to Ryloth. Villy and Quinlan go to Ryloth, and while they're there, Quinlan meets with Ayla Secura's uncle, and he reunites with his Quinlan's own cousin. I forget her name, but he reunites with her, and it turns out she's a traitor, and Villy reunites with his cousin, and who wants to turn Quinlan in. They like create this big plan. We learned that Ayla Secura's uncle also is a traitor, and Ayla's there, and they, Quinlan and Ayla Secura reunite, and she has amnesia too, and we basically learned that they were drugged with the drug they were trying to stop. So they would, because I guess Ayla Secura's master wanted to kill them because they had figured it out. And did I say Ayla Secura's? I meant Ayla's uncle's master, his, the person who hired him, wanted to kill them, but they didn't want to do that. So they, Ayla Secura's uncle, drugged them with this drug, and eventually, Ayla Secura's accidentally kills her uncle by mistake. The details are kind of getting rough here. Basically, it ends off with Villy and the Jedi pulling off this stunt by turning Quinlan in to discover who Ayla Secura's uncle's master was, who was a senator, a Twi'lek senator. And Quinlan's returned to the Jedi. The senator's put into custody. That's how the story ends. So I glossed over a lot of details there, but
the one big thing at the end was he tries to kill a senator, and then Mace Windu fights him. And that's so he kind of, I guess,
they did fight at the end.
Comes back.
So this story is basically Quinlan's mission to retrieve his memories and who he was, and it's also you just get to learn more about his character. It's all about learning about his character, who he is, He's established as one of the most respected Jedi of that time, which is pretty cool. This is also the first appearance of Ed Secura, right? This is her first appearance,
This is
right?
her debut.
Yep. Because for those who don't know, Ed Secura is not a movie character. She's an EU character that they put in the movies. She's an EU character. So this is where she begins. But yeah. So that's the story. Tidus, what are your thoughts on the story?
So this is probably in the list of my, I'd say top 5 or top 10 favorite EU comics, at least EU comic arcs. This is kind of like what made me and really like enjoy EU comics. I think at this point back in like 2020 or 2021, I had only really read Purge, Seconds to Die, and Crimson Empire 1 through 3. So but it's like it was like very middling interest. I didn't really have I never read any of the major ongoings, and I started with the Quinlan Vos Dark Horse Omnibus, which of course begins with this arc, and no, I love it. Rereading it though, it's a little bit funny on the first issue because most of it is kind of just like internal monologue of repeated confusion and like being delirious. But like the action of it, like when he gets like the lightsaber, like the memories come flashing back, it's fucking awesome. It like Ostrander, he wrote Suicide Squad, he wrote a bunch of DC comics. And the pacing of it, the action, it feels like a comic, like a superhero comic book, if that makes sense. Even the second issue is like, they're like talking, like trying to figure out like, Quinlan, it is I really. How are you going to get you off Nashada? And it's like the whole time, it's like they're just fucking whooping ass while like having a full blown conversation. That like it's almost like just casual for them. And there's so many like, and Jander Simmons, like this is her first time drawing in the series, and it's like, bro, her art is so fucking like good. I mean, that's like a no brainer because I mean everyone in the EU community knows how good Jander Simmons is. But like even in like her debut issue since like the Marvel Comics days, she did like 2 issues, I think, in original Marvel Comics. And her art style is insane, bro. But like also like she just draws aliens like so fiendish. It's like I can't think of a single character that's not Quinlan Vos or like another humanoid or like a humanoid that does not have like fucking sharp ass teeth or like some fiendish grin or something, bro. Because like Bib Fortuna had a fiend grin.
Simba's a fiend, dude. She's a fiend.
She is, dude.
She even draws like Cade as a fiend with that fucking grin and that smile.
I mean, yeah,
like,
Cade has a bunch of fiend faces, but like it's like Bib Fortuna has a fucking fiend face. Ayla's uncle has a fiend face. Villy has a fiend face.
Villy's fiend face. That was priceless. Like, he's a delight.
But like, I guess I forgot a lot of it since then. But it's like it was always like a good mystery story. It was like a mystery, action story. Always like I don't know describe it. I think the pacing sells it more than anything. And Quinlan Vos is a character. It's like you don't really get too much into him besides like towards the end where it's like he uses dark side powers to against the fucking Twilight guy, and it kind of like taps into something that's gonna be followed up on other arcs. That Quinlan Vos's main struggle as a character is he struggles with the dark side. He's constantly caught in between light and dark, and the importance of like him fighting Ayla, who of course is like his companion, his Padawan, and it's like a moral obligation to save her. It's also kind of like for the reason that like that's his anchor. Without Ayla Secura, Quinlan Vos probably would dipper. I fucking fucked up my words. He would go deeper into the dark side without her. So I don't know. It has a strong hook, but you don't learn anything about the character till the end. And this is really just like set up for the next big arcs of him. I know I said we're gonna skip Infinity's End, but I think Infinity's End is probably go back on the list. I need to reread it. It might be more impactful than I remembered it being because I originally remembered it not really being consequential, but I could be wrong. So I think we're gonna see the payoff of all that of what happens in Twilight and does other 2 arcs, and the final one of the series. Which one? What was it called? It's called. What is it called?
Rite
Because
of
I know it's
Passage.
the cover is like Ayla and Quinlan, and it's like a
It's
sandy
Rite
background.
of Passage.
Rite of
Rite of
Passage. That's what it's called. Rite of Passage. Like that is a culmination of like everything that we're gonna read. That's like the most badass arc in the whole line.
Rite of
But
Passage. That's the comic where they fight the Anzadi, like Jedi.
not
who's, like,
not the
in cryo.
Anzadi. They fight the Morgukai, the Nikto warriors.
Ah,
Bach and Bach.
Awesome.
Yeah, they fight.
That's even more
Fight
badass.
Nikto warriors, Doc and Bach. I'm not gonna spoil it though. We haven't got there yet. I'm not gonna spoil it. So, but I don't know. My thoughts
Awesome.
are just like this is a badass comic. Its hook is just like it's a mystery. It's cool fights, great art, but the meat of the story does not show up until like the very end. And it's not like me criticizing it in a bad way. I'm just saying that like this is intentionally setting you up for like the character when Ostrander writes him moron. But that's pretty much all I feel.
Yeah, it's probably the best story that we've read so far out of all.
Oh yeah,
all the stories
without a
we've read.
fucking shout out to Doubt, bro. This is the best story we've read so
So-
far. Like,
Oh,
And
absolutely.
this is better than the 300 pages of approaching shit and the 300
uh,
pages of attack of the shit.
it's better than like
crap.
a single word from Approaching Storm, dude. Like not a word in Approaching Storm compares. Not a letter. Not a fucking letter.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, even though they got the same letters, Twilight's still better.
Literally. Every splotch
would
of ink on a damn page. Twilight is better.
Yeah, man. The ink is more of a higher quality in Twilight than damn Approaching Storm.
Literally.
Approaching Storm was just
Poop on a stick. Poop on a fucking stick.
Poop
shit
on a
on
stick, and they sold
fudge on a stick. They sold it in
Fudge on a
stores.
stick.
Get your fudge on a
Yeah,
stick for
man.
10 cents.
Yeah, that's about all that book is worth. It's 10 damn cents.
10
That
cents.
book- that
That's
book is
too
worth
generous. That's too damn
fucking
generous.
poop.
10 cents.
Yeah, it's worth more like a cent.
It's worth more like fucking like 2 torn
Half a
toilet
cent,
paper
bro.
rolls.
Half a cent. Not even quantifiable for real. It's half a cent.
It's not even worth currency. It's
Yeah.
just worth like shit.
It's worth negative currency, dude. Negative money.
Negative money.
Negative money.
Yeah, that's how much that book was worth. But anyway, we're getting off track here. Ken,
Yeah.
what'd you think about the book, dude?
Now that I'm thinking, my memory is still fuzzy, but I'm gonna use like the DC stuff as kind of like an anagram, like a comparison. Because as you guys know, I started watching I'm reading the Batman comics. For me and Tidus are doing the read through, but I started
Yeah.
watching like the DC movies, the DC animated
Yeah,
movies.
you started reading bad comics, dude. Bad
Oh my
comics.
god! Get the fuck out of here! Tell me to read X-Men. You should look at the bad comic.
Yeah, you should read X-Men, dude. Your
I
brain
will.
grow bigger, dude.
Yeah. You said-
Yeah,
Oh
my
my
brain's gonna
God.
get huge.
Y'all are trying to bait each other, bro. Can't go on, bro.
Hey, I'm gonna continue.
Using
So,
the X bait, all X bait.
X-Bait,
Hell
X-Men.
yeah, dude. X-Bait.
So my whole perspective in this comic is just like kind of feel because okay, a lot of the DC movies they're like ensemble cast, but then you have like the Batman movies, which are focused on him and like his family. But it kind of this whole comic feels like something in the vein of like a Batman movie where it starts out with a mystery, it hooks you in, and then it just goes on this roller coaster, this up and down like badass action, and then you got the twist at the end. That's kind of what I see now in this comic is you have some dude, he's got amnesia, he doesn't know where the fuck he is, he's just fighting people, he just has this bounty hunter, morally dubious, like, oh, can I trust this fucking guy? Can I trust Philly?
You can always trust Philly.
And they go on this adventure, and then it leads to this whole conspiracy, and Quinlan gets his memories back. But I think Titus, you said that John Ostrander writes for DC, right?
Yeah, he was a big time DC writer in the 80s.
He created Amanda Waller.
Yeah, Amanda Waller, Suicide Squad,
That's
all
his
of them.
creation.
Yeah, Suicide
Badass.
Squad, Amanda Waller.
Badass. She shows up in the Hush movie briefly, but and she shows up in My Adventures with Superman, but getting off topic. But my whole point is that this, I guess John Ostrander, he wrote DC, so he just comic feels like a DC movie. Specifically, it follows the formula of the many Batman films, where it starts with a hook, sucks you in, has a lot of action, and has a twist at the end. Now Quinlan's own, like his own character arc and like all that stuff is unique to him, but I'm just more like the shell of what this story is reminiscent of DC comics, the specifically Batman stuff and like the Batman movies and comics that I've read and like watched. But those are my thoughts.
Fair enough. My thoughts, I thought it was great. It's certainly, like I said earlier, it's the best story we've read so far. See, I think Ken's probably been a little bit more exposed to Quillen than I have, but going into this, I mean, the only thing I knew about Quillen was the crap we saw in TCW.
That's honestly, I'm in the same boat as you. I mean, my only exposure to Quinlan is probably in the Versus series videos. People analyzing his character and his fighting style and whatnot, but it's all the mentions of his feats that I've seen are all out of context. Like him fighting Kukrook in one of the comics. There's no context for me. It's just I know he fights him at some point.
Awesome.
But
anyway, yeah, I had no exposure. I didn't even have versus battles like Ken. Like like I said, I had Surfer Voss. I knew about him, but I had actually read a EU Quillen Voss story. So when reading, this was my first one. And I guess this is where you would start, right here.
Mhm.
So comparing the two, Surfer Voss and Quillen Voss, it's night and day. And I now know exactly what John Ostrander was saying when he said that I hate to bring up TCW and new canon crap, but I do think it's important. But Ostrander, he said that they were two completely different characters, and he was right. They are. This Quillen Voss is a lot more. I mean, serious. I think it's true, but he doesn't have like this Joker sort of surfer personality at all. He's, very focused, committed, but he struggles with the dark side, right? His internal struggles, and we didn't see any of that in TCW. So, yeah. So this is certainly a much more enjoyable version of the character than in TCW. Maybe I'm biased saying that, but
if I may interject,
this was really good. This was just a good story. And Ayla Secura, I mean, people forget that those two are like inseparable. They're like Anakin and Obi-Wan, or what's another example?
Anakin and Ahsoka.
Like,
to bring up Clone Wars again.
Yeah, nice one, Ken.
I mean, in a sense, bro, like Quillen Voss and Ayla are the blueprint for Ahsoka and fucking Anakin. Like they're trying to ride out their coattails. They don't match their dynamic at all, but like it's just
the blueprint.
It's like they're inspired by Quinlan and Ayla.
TCW didn't include. I mean, Ayla's in that show, but not as an apprentice to Quinlan. So
she's only in like one episode.
She mentions him by name. She says Master Voss in TCW.
Really?
Yeah.
Shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, I was just saying, just like the dynamics of the pairs. It's like what Ken is saying. It's just like he's not saying like it's the same quality, but it is inspired by like Ayla and Quinlan.
I mean, that's true, but I don't.
I did want to mention
and Ahsoka are inseparable. Well, I guess Ahsoka is inseparable from Anakin, but Anakin is not. Anakin is inseparable from Ahsoka. Ahsoka is not inseparable from Anakin, is what I'm saying. But like these two characters are inseparable. Like they're crucial to each other's story, if that makes sense. And I guess in TCW, Ahsoka and Anakin are kind of crucial for each other's story, but Anakin in the movies, no. So I guess that's what I'm saying, because TCW, I guess Ayla mentions him. I don't remember that, but from what we saw of Quinlan, Ayla's not even there, and it's, I don't know. I just think this was a much, now I can see why Ostrander was saying what he said and why other fans have said what they've said about the two characters being so different, or two versions of the characters. So
has Ostrander only seen like the actual show portrayal? Because I don't think. I mean, I don't think him actually having like the Quinlan Voss novel, him reading that wouldn't change his mind. I'm not saying it's good. It's not a good book, but I mean,
Oh,
there's
he
an
did read it, and he said the
he
same
did.
thing. He said it was
Okay.
just a different character.
Well, there is
So
kind of an attempt in that novel to try and like backpedal and kind of to scrape together like the old EU Voss and kind of, but it's like you're basically like making a fucking house out of like termite infested wood is basically what that book is. Like the foundation's already a pile of shit. So
interesting.
it's an attempt at least, but my whole point is that it's just they're trying to again ride on the coattails of what made the character great, but it doesn't work. They also, to my knowledge, fuck up another character that appears more prominently in the actual Clone Wars Republic arcs. But I won't say his name for spoiler reasons.
We'll talk about that later. But on the artwork, I do want to comment on that because I think it's worth it. I think what makes Jan Dursima's art so good is it it just feels like Star Wars. I mean, I don't know how to describe it. Like it feels like the movies in like an artwork form. That's kind of what it feels like. It's still cartoonish. There's cartoonish elements, of course, but it's also accurate, and it feels like it's a decent window into the world of Star Wars. I don't know. It's hard to describe it. It just it's realistic to Star Wars, but it's also cartoonish. It's comic. It's comic-y. But it's also fairly realistic and fairly. It looks like Star Wars. So I don't know. I hope that makes sense.
The best way I could describe Jan Dursema's art style is it feels like modern anime, like the modern animation style. It's like this stuff we're accustomed to, at least to me. It's a specific style that kind of like is stylized, but also a little grounded and realistic. And the modern Japanese anime art style kind of goes for a blend of both, and that's kind of what I see when I see Jan Dursema's art.
Fair enough, too. But it is very good. I guess that's all I've got to say. It was great. I've read it twice now. It's very, very good. At the end, I'm interested to see how this storyline or the continuation of it. At the very end, the Emperor. Well, he's not the Emperor yet, but Palpatine, Darth Sidious shows up, and he's commenting on what happened with Quinlan, and I think that's very interesting. So I can't wait to see what happens with that.
It's going to be interesting next few comics for sure.
Yep.
I'm interested to see the whole thing with Ayla, Voss, and then I forgot the Anzadi Dark Jedi's name, but that whole I've only ever seen that contextualized in like Versus series. I've never read like the actual comic, so like the actual
Anzadi character's name Volfe Karko.
Volfe Karko. Thank you.
Yeah, that's him.
But I've never read that comic. That's going to be interesting to read because I don't know any of the context behind it besides they use it for reference in Versus YouTube videos.
Yeah, that's darkness.
Some badass darkness.
Well, I think that's all we've got for now. It was very good. The next comic we'll be reading is Hunt for Aurra Sing, along with Heart of Fire, which is a short comic. I've actually read this already. I actually see the reason why we started reconsidering putting Infinity's End on the list is because is that what it's called, Infinity's End?
Yeah. I already mentioned earlier that like I wasn't sure if it had any consequential information into the story, so I left it out.
Yeah, no.
And it doesn't have like a trade paperback form either.
Yeah, that's stupid. But I guess I was trying to say that I read Hunt for Aurra Sing, and then I was starting on Darkness, but then I'm reading Darkness, and it's like mentioning information. I'm like, what the hell? When did any of this happen? So then that's when we started like reconsidering adding Infinity's End to it. But the next comic will be Hunt for Aurra Sing. So I don't know. Have you guys read that yet?
Nope.
Have you had a chance to?
No.
Mm-mm.
Well, I'm gonna reread it because it's been a sec since I read it. Of course, I'm gonna reread it. But I remember it being okay. you know. But anyway, that's for a different video. So that's all we've got. Like I said, reviews. We're still gonna try and get them out. It's really on me. You know, we're trying to. Well, I guess we're all trying to conform to each other's schedules, but with me being at university and being going to be very busy coming up, so we're gonna try to make sure we can put reviews out. You know, and I still want to read this stuff. You know, I still love the EU
Yeah.
and everything that it has to offer. So, but you guys want to add anything else?
Nope. I think I'm out of ideas, out of thoughts.
Tidus?
That's practically it, bro.
Yep. So overall, great story. You know, it's the beginning of Quillen's journey. I'm very excited to see where it goes. So thank you guys very much for watching. May the force be with you.